Reading with your kids.
Hola, ni hao, konnichiwa, assalamu alaikum, shalom, jambo. Bienvenidos. Hi, my name is Jedley, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We are coming to you from the beautiful neighborhood of Reedville in the southwest corner of Boston, Massachusetts. Please be sure to subscribe to the show on the iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Himalaya, wherever you find your podcast. Our guest today is our Dean of all things STEM and STEAM, Jennifer Swanson. We are coming together to dig up history. Before we invite the Dean back in to let us know about this STEM Tuesday edition of the show, we want to let you know we have a brand new Reading with Your Kids certified great read, Taylor's STEM Adventures Hawaii, written by Dr. Mary Payton. This book is proof that learning can be fun. In this story, we meet a curious young boy named Taylor. Taylor tells us that his parents are officers serving our nation in the Army, and because of that, he gets to travel to and live in many different places. Taylor is currently living in the beautiful island state of Hawaii. He begins his tour of his new home state by teaching us that Hawaii is made up of 8 islands, and that these islands were created by tectonic plates. Dr. Mary Payton has created a wonderful way to teach kids all about science, technology, engineering, and math. All those wonderful things that we can discover in Hawaii. Taylor teaches us about volcanoes and coral reefs. We learn how scientists explore the ocean and outer space and how rainbows are made. We even visit the Pearl Harbor Historical Site. This book is filled with beautiful illustrations and a glossary that will come in handy for kids reading on their own. But we think Taylor's STEM Adventures Hawaii is a trip that should be taken together as a family. Congratulations to Dr. Mary Payton. Taylor's STEM Adventures Hawaii is our brand new Reading with Your Kids certified great read. Joining us on the line right now from Jacksonville in Florida. She is our Dean of all things STEM and STEAM. Please welcome back to the show the award-winning author, Jennifer Swanson. Jennifer, how are you?
I'm great, Jed. How are you? Thanks for the very enthusiastic welcome, too.
I think we have to record that. So anytime you do a public event, you just push play and you get this.
Oh, that would be lovely. Yes, I would like that very much.
There you go. Jennifer is the driving force behind STEM Tuesday, an amazing blog that you can find at the Mix Up Files. She's also the driving force behind STEAM Team 2020. And we have the pleasure of welcoming her into the podcast every month or so to tell us a little bit about what's going on at STEM Tuesday. And today we're going to be digging up a little bit of history. Is that right?
Yes. So, in fact, the title of this blog this month, is September. It actually happened in September 2019. So this is Digging Up History and Archaeology. So if you have kids out there who love to dig in the dirt and their biggest dream is to find a dinosaur bone, you might have to take a look at some of the books on this list that we have, and help them out and see if they can find something. So as you know, for STEM Tuesday, we have 4 weeks, and the first week is always the book list. And I know you're going to be hearing this, a month from now. So it's searchable. So if you want to go back, go to our STEMTuesday.com home website, and it just says select the month or search by the topic, and it would be archaeology, paleontology. And this first book you will love, Jed. It's called Mummies Exposed.
Mummies Exposed. All right.
It's by, it says Creepy and True, Mummies Exposed by Carrie Logan Houlihan. And it talks about how they're using technology such as X-ray imaging, carbon dating to discover fresh facts about the dead.
Fresh facts about the dead. That sounds a little oxymoronic, but
yeah, a little bit. But it has mummies that were dug up in the desert, in the ice, Like they've been frozen.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I just heard, what was it, a couple weeks ago that they found a couple who was, I think they were exploring Antarctica or somewhere, and they fell into a crevice, and they found them completely frozen and like normal, not decayed at all, which would be a little creepy to come across that.
Yeah, and one of the things I've read some stories about climbing the Himalayas.
Yeah, Mount Everest. Yep.
Yeah, and like you're going up the mountain and you just like off to the side there's bodies. You can't recover them. People don't make it to the top and they don't make it back down again, I guess.
No. Nope, that could be gross.
Yeah.
So I guess this is a kind of an interesting topic today.
Yeah. Wow. You want to catch the attention of 8-year-olds, whether they're boys or girls. Throw some dead bodies in there. That's really gonna pique their interest.
Why not? And speaking of that, so another book on the list is Children of the Past, Archaeology and the Lives of Kids by Lois Huey. So she talks about how children of the 21st century have a lot in common with kids from long ago. And they talk about how they've, dug up kids or maybe like old time cities or communities, and they found out what the children wore back then, what kind of foods they ate, and a little bit about their lives. Like they played with friends, they created art, they did all kinds of things that kids today do. Although I'm sure we didn't find any cell phones.
Probably not. Probably not. Yeah. That's something that blows kids' minds these days.
Yes.
Is, there's no cell phone. I mean, I remember being in front of a group of kids and telling them that when I was growing up, we had 3 channels on TV. And it was not in color. It was in black and white. And the kids like, oh,
right.
Shocked and horrified.
And you could get the 4th one to come in if you just like stood with the antenna and like angled it the right way and it wasn't raining. Mm-hmm. Right? Like you could get a 4th one some days.
Yep. Yeah, those are the days where I stood behind the TV and held on to it for my dad because he wanted to watch something.
I think we all did that. Plus, this is the thing that blows. There were no remotes. We were the remotes.
Absolutely.
For our parents.
Yep.
Like, hey, get up, change the channel.
Yep. That's amazing. And we survived it, thank goodness.
We did. And then the other one is Nomad Press has a really cool series called Girls in Science.
Ooh.
And it's all about different women who work in science, and it actually like gives the kind of the biography and background of 3 living women who are actually today working in science. And there's one on archaeology.
Oh, great.
And they have historical archaeology and marine archaeology. So maybe working in the water.
Oh, I've never heard that term before, marine archaeology.
Yeah. I mean, so would they be, now I haven't read this book, but it could be that they're digging, I don't know if they're digging deep underground or maybe like a bog, so something that you can kind of walk through, which would have reeds and whatever. I don't know. That's kind of interesting either way.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the fun things about this and about STEM Tuesday and about reading with your kids and exploring with your kids. There's a whole lot that we can learn and we can find out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So on the second week, you remember the second week of STEM Tuesday is in the classroom. So these are activities you can do with your kids, if you're a parent, if you are a teacher, if you're a homeschooler and you're looking for stuff to do. One of them is become an artifact detective.
Ooh.
So you're going to challenge your class or your child to become a detective. And then what they're going to do is kind of find 5 to 10 items that they often carry around with them. So, things you might have in your pockets or like a pencil or whatever. And then you're going to analyze it. Like you could go so far as to hide it if you wanted to and have someone find it, or you could bury it in the backyard, have someone dig it up if you want to do it that way. But once you get the items, you're going to act like a real archaeologist. You're going to measure it. Mm-hmm. You're going to sketch a photo of it, exactly where you found it. You're going to maybe take a picture of it. You're going to basically record everything. So you might need like a notebook or something like that. And then you're going to number it and create a little entry in your notebook, because this is exactly what they do on an archaeological dig. Mm-hmm. Every single piece, every single item that they pick out goes through all of these different things. And then, if you do this with a class, what they did was everybody exchanges notebooks, and then people have to discover which of these things were theirs. Like who owned the pencil, and who owned, maybe you buried a baseball and all this kind of stuff. I think that would be kind of a fun activity to do. And you can do it however you want it. Set it up however you want, but I think that would be really fun. All of a sudden they're artifact detectives.
Yeah, and looking at things and really noticing things that they carry around with them every single day and seeing them in a completely different light.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another thing you could do, of course, is create a time capsule. I'm trying to think. I think we did that in high school. I mean, a long time ago when I was going to high school, that was the thing to do, right? Like everybody was digging time capsules to open in 2000, because 2000 was so far away. And now it's like 2020. Holy cow.
I know.
So you could do a time capsule and dig it and put it in your backyard. There's a link here to go to the Smithsonian Institution Learning Lab, to learn about how archaeologists interpret artifacts, called Decoding the Past. And this has some worksheets and stuff that you could do in your class with your students if you want. The Smithsonian Institute, hello, I think they know all about archaeology.
I think a little bit. They have a little bit of experience. I could have used one of those Smithsonian archaeologists when my son was still living here in the house, when he was transitioning from middle school to high school. We could have done a dig in his bedroom, and we would have been able to go down and find layers and find, different artifacts from different grades in his life, and, different homework projects that he didn't do under layers and layers of stuff underneath his bed and underneath his bureau and underneath, like, everything.
Yeah, I think we all had kids like that too. There were just certain rooms you just didn't go into in my house when they were teenagers.
Uh-huh.
As long as it was closed behind their door, I was like, whatever. Let's see. And then week 3 is our writing tips and resource. So this one is actually, I kind of like this because, in STEM Tuesday, we try to do a connection between STEM and literacy. So this one is challenging you to create a story. Of course, we would prefer a story about STEM, science, technology, engineering, or math. But you could do any story. And it kind of goes through how writing a story is almost like being an archaeologist. Because you have to dig deep to find the facts. You have to clear away the dust of your writing, And then you have to basically polish it up. So Mike Hayes does a great job on STEM Tuesday. He says, finding your story is like finding the fossilized femur bone in the side of a mountain. Discover, dig, chip away, clear what doesn't belong, and shine it until it sparkles and is ready to put on display.
There you go. Nice.
Right. And then, of course, he talks about hits and misses. So I know all of you out there that are listening think we authors just sit down, write write a draft of the book and send it off to our editors and poof, it gets published. Yeah, no. Just no. We wish that's what happens. Mm-hmm. But, it's hard because some of the books, people are like, how many drafts do you do? Well, it depends. Some drafts you do 3 or 4. Some you do 10. It kind of depends on what stage you are and where you're going. And then, of course, since we write manuscripts on the computer, once it gets into the layout stage and it's set on the page and there's these beautiful, pictures and illustrations that you have to put text all around, you see, oh, look, there's a big hole here. We need more text here. Or, oh, there's way too much text on this page. You have to cut it. So there's lots of hits and misses when you're writing. Mm-hmm. And then of course at the end of this one, they have the out of left field, which is what I love. Mike Hayes and Heather Montgomery run this week, and they are just, you never know what you're going to get out of them. So he has, how do you discover a dinosaur and how to hunt for dinosaur bones in the digital age. So if you have that kid we talked about from the beginning who wants to find the dinosaurs, here's some links to help you.
That is so cool. I do remember being a kid and loving dinosaurs. The Stegosaurus was my favorite dinosaur. And just dreaming of, finding those bones. And I think we went to some kind of theme. Well, it was a stretch to call it a theme park, but, some little area where they had, called it Dinosaur Land or something, and had some paper mache statues up. And, I remember as a little kid, oh yeah, you might be able to find a dinosaur bone here. And we're, kind of digging and everything. And it was really thrilling for me.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, of course, all the kids want to discover dinosaur bones, but what you really do is you probably come across some arrowheads, maybe some fossilized rocks or fossils embedded in a rock, like a plant or something like that. Actually, the best places to find dinosaurs, preserved bones are way out in the far west where it's hot and dry and not wet, because then they don't decay. I mean, you can find dinosaurs. They found dinosaur bones all over the place, but usually the better places where they find the big finds are usually in the desert or in the really hot, dry places, which makes sense, right?
Yeah. Jennifer, I don't know if you know it, but my property, we live on a very historic part of Earth. Yeah, here in Reedville. I was talking about the beautiful neighborhood of Reedville. Our neighborhood was an Army training ground for the 54th Regiment that was made famous in the movie Glory. And,
wow.
Yeah, and they trained here before they set off. And so there was this little Army base, and our property is way away from the training, the parade grounds. And so every once in a while when we're out, if it rains and some of the backyard kind of erodes, we find the bottles and whatnot that the soldiers threw away. Our backyard was their landfill. Yeah, yeah.
That is so cool. I did not know that.
Yeah.
So you have history right there in your own backyard.
History,
you could be your own archaeologist.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. And we're, it was, we became archaeologists by accident because, we're outside and it's all of a sudden like, where'd all this glass come from? I don't understand it. And we dug a little bit more into the history and found out about, Camp Meigs and those brave soldiers. And, so it's pretty cool.
So I'm curious, did you ever tell anybody about this, like the local historical society or anything?
A lot of folks know about it. We have, there's a group of men and women who reenact the 54th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and it's not only our backyard, there's a number of backyards where folks find these little bottles and things like that. And, so it's pretty cool.
That is very cool.
Yeah.
See, you never know what you're going to find in your own backyard.
Absolutely.
Or down by a creek or, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then the last week is, always of our STEM Tuesday is an interview with an author and a book giveaway. Mm-hmm. So even though this book, Creepy and True Mummies by, Carrie Logan Houlihan has been given out, whatever month you're listening to, the last week of STEM Tuesday, we do a giveaway. All you have to do is leave a comment on the blog and you could win a free book autographed by the author. Yeah. This one, the interview is interesting because she talks about, how, why she got involved in this. And she's just really interested in history and creepy things. That's kind of what, what Carrie loves, but sometimes, and this is very true when you're a nonfiction author, you come across very interesting facts that they're just little known. So she found out when she was writing this book that King Tut, one of his daggers, was composed of metal from a meteorite.
Whoa.
Right.
Wow, that's cool.
That is cool. So then that gets you thinking, well, what meteor must have hit over in, where King Tut lived in Egypt? And oh my gosh, and when would this happen? And the thing was, stuff like that, if they're able to date the meteorite, actually makes the find even more important, because now they have an actual date, or at least a time frame for it. Because sometimes when they dig things up, it's difficult exactly to tell how long ago it was and whatever. But these are all the really cool things that you find when you get to be a nonfiction author.
That is wonderful. And like Jennifer said, just going to that last week in the month, every month, and just leave a comment, and it doesn't have to be, a big elaborate comment. It can just be, hey, I really like this month's topic, and you'll be entered in to win a free book that's autographed by the author. That's so cool.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
So this month, everybody, basically what we're saying is go out and start digging up some history.
Yeah. We can dig it. I love it. Jennifer, remind us, you have so many books out. I know we've talked a lot about the Crash Test Dummies. What book of yours do you want folks to check out?
Save the Crash Test Dummies is a great one. And my Astronaut Aquanaut book is also good. I have a new one coming out this year in June called Beastly Bionics. And it's all about biomimicry. So if you have kids who love to do maker spaces or build robots, but they may not be so interested in learning how to do coding, this book is for them. It has a lot of engineering and design things for what people are doing, creating robots based on animals. It's really cool. And all of these soft robotics are to help humans, of course.
Yeah.
And if I can say, so you can find me at my brand new updated website. JenniferSwansonBooks.com. Yeah, it literally went live today, and I'm so excited.
That's awesome. And yeah, that Astronaut Aquanaut book is amazing. I still remember Jennifer was kind enough to donate a couple of autographed books, and my wife's best friend is a principal at a school in Boston, and when she brought that book into her sixth graders, they went ballistic. They loved it. They especially loved it. Most of the kids in the school are from Central America, and they loved seeing other Latinos who are in the STEM fields, and it really inspired them. And so, yeah, that is absolutely a fantastic book to check out, and it just happens to be a Reading with Your Kids certified great read.
Yes, it is.
So we want to thank Jennifer Swanson. Be sure to check out this topic over at STEMtuesday.com. Jennifer, thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me, Judd.
Please be sure to join us for the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. If you loved this episode of the show, you are going to just go wild for our next episode. You know that Jennifer and I are the hosts of the Solve It for Kids podcast. It is just getting so many fantastic reviews. We are going to be republishing our interview with Eric Whitaker here on the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We want to let everybody know just how exceptional this new podcast is. It's a great podcast for families to listen to together. And Eric Whitaker is a Grammy-winning composer and conductor. He composed something called Deep Field, and we asked him what it is like, how you compose music that is as big as the universe. You don't want to miss it. I love it. Eric is an amazing guy, and Solve It for Kids is an amazing podcast. That's the next episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. If you are an author, we would love to help you let the world know about your fantastic book. We have a number of great author services that are available. Our Reading with Your Kids Certified Great Read program has helped so many authors. In fact, Jennifer Swanson, her book, Astronaut Aquanaut, was one of our very first Reading with Your Kids Certified Great Read. We also have a brand new book giveaway program that we're really excited about. And coming soon, we will be offering some social media services for authors. Check it all out by going to our website, readingwithyourkids.com. Click on the Author Services button at the top of the page to find out how we can help you. We want to thank the folks who helped us make today's show so wonderful. Of course, we want to thank our Dean of all things STEM and STEAM, Jennifer Swanson. Be sure to check out our podcast, Solve It for Kids. Be sure to check out STEM Tuesday at the Mixed Up Middle Grade File. And also make sure to check out her website, Jennifer Swanson Books. Also want to thank my incredible team, starting with my amazing producer, Fatima Khan, my awesome author, Ambassador Peggy Cotto. I want to say the biggest thank you for my beautiful wife for all the support she gives me. But you know what? I have an even bigger thank you. It's going out to you. That's right. You are incredible. Because of you, we are coming through this pandemic. And even though it, pits and starts in some places, locking down a little bit more, and there's surging here and there, overall, we're flattening that curve. You're keeping your kids safe. You're educating your kids. You're letting them know that this will be over at some point. We're going to come through it okay. And that's so important. You deserve the biggest thanks in the world for that. You are literally making the world a better place. Thank you so very much. I'll be looking for you in the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.